Number 10 is a problem where we've got to simplify 2 minus secant squared theta is equal to cosine of 2 theta times secant squared of theta. All right, so what we're going to have to do, let's see if we can zoom in even more. There we go. All right, so what we're going to have to do is simplify one of these sides to be the other. We're going to have to simplify one of these sides to be the other using these identities here. All right, so we've got all of these identities here. All right, we've got all these identities here, and we want to simplify. We want to simplify this here. We want to simplify this here using the identities. I can't fit it all on the same page, so let's just do the best we can. Okay, there we go. I think that'll work out. All right, so let's see what we can do. We want to either simplify this side to be equal to that, or we want to simplify this side to be equal to that. I think for this particular problem, it's going to be easiest to work on that side. All right, so let's take a look. We've got cosine of 2 theta is equal to secant squared theta. Well, we know that cosine of 2 theta can be equal to a variety of things. Cosine of 2 theta can be equal to this, or this. I think in this particular problem, it might be easiest to simplify the cosine of 2 theta to be equal to 2, right here, 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. All right, so another way to say cosine of 2 theta is 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. And let's multiply that to secant squared theta. All right, so right now, I'll be honest with you, right now I don't see how we're going to get this to be equal to that. All right, but let's continue going. Let's multiply secant squared times that and secant squared times that, and let's see what we come up with. All right, so we have 2 cosine squared theta times secant squared theta times secant squared theta. We multiply this times this, and now let's subtract secant squared theta times that minus secant squared theta. All right, so now secant squared is the same thing as 1 over cosine. So we have 2 cosine squared theta times 1 over cosine squared theta, and we end up with minus secant squared theta. All right, so this is beginning to work out. All right, so now you notice that there's some cancellation that can happen there, and we end up with 2 times, this cancels, that's a 1, minus secant squared theta. So we end up with 2 minus secant squared theta is equal to that. So the beauty of what we're doing is, let's say you have a problem in a higher level math class, cosine 2 theta times secant squared theta. All of this can be simplified down to something that's much more manageable. That's the beauty of this procedure, which is to simplify trigonometric functions. Trigonometric expressions can be simplified working with something called identities.